Hey everyone, welcome back to Rob's Funk and Junk podcast, episode 41, I believe. How are you all out there? The sun is absolutely raging today. Look at that gorgeous weather. I don't know where you are, but it is beautiful out here. So I am doing a garden podcast. I've just mowed the lawn. Let me show you. I've just mowed my lawn. Excuse the Blair Witch phone angles. I've just mowed my lawn today. Once a week, headphones on, headphones in, listening to... Today I've been listening to Neil Brennan podcast, talking to the amazing Jim Jeffries. Yeah, how are you all? What's been going on? Thank you so much for the nice words on the last podcast. I've been away. I was away in Holland this week. I went to Holland to do a little clinic for PRS guitars, which was really great fun. Went over to Eindhoven to a place called Bruegel, a store called Guitar King Store, or King Guitar Store, Guitar King Store. I think it's Guitar King. Stunning shop. I was with the lovely owners there, Franz and Wilma, who really sort of took care of me, and I got to talk to some lovely people who came out to look at some guitars, look at some PRS guitars, and hear me play a little bit. It was really good, fun, lovely food, nice people, just in and out. Flew in, went straight to the store, did like an hour and a half chatting to people who turned up, hung around. Oh man, I got to play through this amp. I took my quad cortex along, because that's what I will always do, is take a quad cortex along just so I know what I've got. Play a few backing tracks and play along, and then just talk at people for an hour and a half, get some Q&As. But I on this particular occasion, there was a couple of amps set up that were like Dumble style amps by a company called, a guy who makes them over there called Van Leek, not sure how it's pronounced, but I just tried one out as I was setting up, and it sounded amazing, so that's what I used. And he was that guy who builds them turned up. He turned up to try and then he was immediately like, oh man, you've got to have one of these amps. You've got to get one of these amps. And I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, I can't really afford one at the moment. It's not something that I'd love to have one, but yeah, I just can't really afford it. What's been going on? I've just been doing house stuff, really. Been doing a lot of work in the garden, because at this time of year the garden just explodes with life, and yeah, we've decided that we are going to have to part ways, sadly. It's quite a sad day tomorrow. We're going to part ways with our poor little chickens tomorrow, just because it's driving the dogs crazy. Two of the dogs, Herbie and Joni, have got such high prey drive that whenever we're out in the garden, even though the chickens are fenced off, it's sort of ramping up it's ramping up the dogs. They just want to get to the chickens and fuck them up, basically, so it's a bit of a shame, and Ray and I talked about it a lot, and we are gutted, but it's not fair on the chickens, because we like to let them free run in the garden quite a lot, and then that means keeping the dogs inside. And we've had a few near misses where the dogs have managed to get out and managed to avert a bloodbath. But it's just for our nerves. So yeah, we're really upset. But we found a lovely family in our village that are going to take the chickens. So I'm playing this old Hoffner guitar. This guitar is where it all started for me. This was my dad's guitar. And when I was a kid, my dad had this guitar in the house, and I hassled him and hassled him and hassled him. Can you go and get the guitar out, please? And it was up in the loft, and I remember just pestering him for days and days and days and weeks, probably seems like that. But can you go and get the guitar out? And he went up there, upstairs, into the loft, and I just remember hearing this, nothing. Just hearing the strings being struck, and then this vision being, this was the vision sort of appearing in the loft hatch. And it was handed down to me, and then I proceeded to sit with it on my lap like this. This is how I played guitar for about 2 years, with a guitar on my lap, not understanding how to do it. But I have had this guitar in my life since then, really. I mean, it used to live at my dad's house, my mum and dad's, but when they passed, it became mine. So what I did, because it's not the most toneful instrument, I remember, I'll show you the very first thing my dad taught me, because my dad played a little bit, only a little bit. I think the song, I don't know who it's by, but it's called Moving and a Groovin'. My dad was really into skiffle and old rock and roll back in those days. So he taught me this, right? Here's the very first riff I learnt. So it's that. So that's the very first thing I learned to play properly on the guitar. Didn't even know until I was much older that obviously that is the minor pentatonic scale. That's what I used to play and drive my parents absolutely nuts with for quite some time. But what I've had done with this guitar, when I got it, I took it to my good friend Rob Bond. So this is a Hoffner Congress. It's a very old guitar. I don't know what they're worth. No idea. But it was kind of unusable, really, when I got it. It just wasn't the nicest tone. It's quite a metallic tone. So because it's got this sort of like resonator style, it's a very resonant sort of springy sound. I had if you can see there, I had a rubber bridge put on it. I had a pickup fitted, and I got some flat wounds on it. So I've been using it quite a bit on a few little sessions. I've been doing some of my own stuff. I've been using it on that quite a lot. And it means, obviously means a great deal to me, this guitar. But yeah, this is before I got my first electric, when I was about 10 or 11, this is what I had for the first 3 years. And I used to, because we grew up in Qatar, I was talking about this the other day because it come back to me. We couldn't get plectrums. My dad only had a small collection of plectrums. And I used to cut the picks. I used to cut picks out of my mother's old hair lacquer lids. I used to take, when she'd finished, I used to take the lid, the plastic lids, which you don't have nowadays, and I used to cut little plectrum shapes out of them. So that's what I started with. And I used to play things like this. Like this. So, all with one finger, with my hand, the guitar laying flat, like that, for about a year. That's what I did. And my dad also taught me a D shape, which I think he said was a G shape, which was just that, which he said was an A, and an A shape, which was he said was a D or something. He got the names wrong of the chords, bless him. And it wasn't until I went to lessons when I came back to the UK that I realised that all of that was kind of wrong. But yeah, there was a lot of one-fingered guitar playing going on when I started for a while. But yeah, this guitar is a bit special to me. What else has been happening? Yeah, so there was a nice little response to... I got a really good response to the last episode, talking about the reason for playing the guitar. A lot of that has actually been in use for me for the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks have been quite challenging. I don't mind telling you. I haven't had a drink of alcohol for now three and a half weeks. So I know that's not, I don't want to jinx it, but I've stopped drinking for a while just to see if I can stop drinking. Not a crazy heavy drinker, but I have realised that I was probably drinking a little bit more than I should. And alcohol was relatively new to me because I didn't start drinking. I didn't touch a drop of alcohol till I was 40 years old. I was completely teetotal till I was 40. And then that's when I discovered booze. And it started with, my very first drink was a mojito. I was in Sydney and I was only there for about 2 days. We flew over there to do a gig, and that was my very first drink. I remember I was 40 years old and I had a mojito, followed swiftly by another mojito. And then that was it. I realised that it wasn't... I don't know why I didn't drink, really. I just didn't drink ever. I think it was partly growing up in a town where I live. It was a very, very, very sort of kind of busy pub community. Lots of pubs in the town, where I grew up. And lots of fights, lots of drinking. And all my mates were drinking, they were all sort of racing to drink as young as they possibly could. And my dad used to drink a bit, wasn't crazy drinker, but I just didn't, I think I used to, I didn't like what it did to people around me. I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure I want to be like that. I don't want to lose control. So I just didn't drink for quite some time, till I was 40 years old. And then I started drinking and then continued drinking to the point, it got probably during when we were all locked down. That was when it became a little bit easier to have a drink. There were gin and tonics flying around at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and probably just trying to contain the panic that was going on inside. So I kind of thought, let me see if I can stop drinking. And I must say, I don't know if anyone else is out there. Well, I've lost a bit of weight. I think I've lost a bit of weight, which I was trying to do as well. Lose a bit of weight, keep my blood pressure was going nuts, and I just feel physically and just physically a hell of a lot better. So I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not saying I'm never gonna have a drink again, but right now I'm enjoying not having a drink. Although about maybe 1.5 weeks in, I didn't know that there was this thing. I sort of found out about it by sort of researching online and looking at YouTube videos and stuff like that. There's this thing called GABA, which I'd never heard of before, but apparently when you drink, the GABA chemical in your body, or the GABA response in your body, is kind of sort of put on a shelf, and it stays there for quite some time until you stop drinking, and then all of a sudden all your emotions come back in one go. Perhaps why I was a little bit emotional in the last episode, but it almost like all this stuff that was just sitting in the back room came out and walloped me. So yeah, it's sort of it's leveling out now, really massively leveling out now. But I don't know if anyone else has been out there and had the same, but I'm sure there's people out there that have stopped drinking for a while and noticed that it's a bit of a weird come and kicks you up the arse a bit. But yeah, it was something I was completely unaware of. I was getting really sort of anxious and anxious about lots of things, but not understanding why until I looked at it. But yes, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine, and I'm definitely enjoying this weather. What else has been happening? Yeah, so one of the things that I was talking about the other day was I've been talking with some friends recently who are just desperate to get out and play. You know, musicians, sort of touring musicians, drummers and bass players that I know, they're all just looking to go and do a gig, like a weekly gig or like a monthly, every 2 weeks, or a monthly little residency gig where we can go and just play somewhere. Not even, I dare I say it, not even for lots of money or any money. It's just so we can go out and play and sort of stretch out and play whatever we like. We're just looking for venues that we can go and do it at. But obviously, if there's no money, it can't be, we don't want to be sort of traipsing across the country. But we're just looking for venues to go and, it's a great thing. What I've realised is we're kind of, I think, in this country, definitely, we're in danger of losing live music a bit. I think we're in danger of it. If we're not careful, it's going to be gone. When I grew up, there was always a pub to go and play at, always a bar to go and play at. And now that seems a lot tougher to do. I think people are forgetting what it is like, how good it is to have a live band, and a good live band. I think I'm going to be maybe a bit controversial. Hang on, I'm going to have a sip of water. Controversial time coming. Ready? Okay. Let me say this correctly so I don't get in trouble or upset anybody. Open mic nights. My last sort of foray into open mic nights. What would happen, or especially in the area that I live around here, an open mic night is usually run by one person. The bar, the club or bar will have an open mic night, right? And they'll have someone that arranges that. There'll be one person that arranges that. And what it is a way for people to get out and play. They get up and they do their 2 songs. They'll get up and they'll play. They'll do a couple of songs, and they'll just turn up regularly, and they'll appear. And it doesn't go much further than that, right? They'll get up and do, 2 songs that they've been working on. It might be like an acoustic duo, or a bunch of guys and girls that will get together and they've learnt a few covers, and they'll get up and play them. And it's like a house kit. There's a house kit there. There's a bass amp, a couple of guitar amps. People can just get up and play. And that's great, right? That is really great. But what I remember happening when I was younger, coming up, is there would be bands that you could go and see. And for a young musician, going out and seeing a band of really sort of accomplished musicians, it kind of would help me, basically taught me about, what the standard was, how good you have to be out there doing that, right? It means that, and I mean this in the best way, and please don't be offended I'm not wanting to offend anyone here. What it means is that the standard of musicianship comes up, the standard of performance comes up. People get to look at something that's great and then they strive to be that good themselves, or or there's a healthy sense of competition, right? And I think we're losing that a little bit. I'm definitely, I definitely love it. I love it when I go and see a band play and I'm blown away by them. And it makes me want to come back and pick up my guitar, and inspires me to sort of work harder and to become better, and to work on performance and sound and gear and all that kind of stuff. I just wonder if we're losing that a little bit. So I'm definitely sort of on the hunt at the moment to look for a suitable venue where I can sort of get together with some friends and just go and play once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. And it's not based upon money. It's based on just getting out there, playing, and improving standards. Improving my playing. That's what I want to work on. Because quite often when I'm playing, I love my job. I love what I do. I love doing sessions with people. I love playing. I love playing in the band and all the other gigs that I do. I absolutely love it. But I'm doing a job, and I'm not necessarily able to stretch out in the ways that I want to stretch out on those types of gigs. And I am, I don't know. I'm just sort of basically saying, if there's, if you're out there and you're sort of feeling the same way, say, you live wherever you live, it might be great to sort of try and bring this culture back a bit of, on a Wednesday night, you can go out and see a great band, or you can go out and do a set yourself. And it's a regular thing that you've got every month, you've got a gig that you can go and play at and improve, and hopefully the audience will be there for that. I know that there's probably potentially sort of like PRS licensing and all that kind of stuff involved. I'm not sure. I don't know what that looks like. But I think if we don't use it, we're going to lose it, and we're really in danger of losing it. I think, especially in today's thing, people are sitting at home looking at their Instagram accounts and watching all the most amazing musicians playing, but they're not getting to see those people playing. You can't just go down the road and watch them in a bar as often as you perhaps could have. And when you I look back to the people that I grew up listening to, and that's what they were doing. They were out all the time. You hear about the Motown, the Funk Brothers. They'd be doing a session all day long, and then after they finished recording, they'd go to a club and play for 2 hours because they just loved playing. And maybe they had to do it because they earned money doing it, but I don't know. It just seems that we're going to lose it. And I don't mean, I mean open mic nights. There's the how many times have you been at an open mic night and heard a band playing Superstition and perhaps Wonderwall or something? I'm talking about being able to get out there and play the music you love and introduce an audience to some music that they might not know, that they might have never heard it before. That's something I'm looking at the moment. I've been thinking about it and talking about it for years, but I'm actually actively on the hunt for a place to go and play, local to me at the moment, where the colleagues that I've spoken to, they're like, we're up for playing. We're up for going out and doing 2:45s. Maybe if you get a meal and a drink out of it at the end of the night. An alcohol-free drink, I might add. At least you've been out, had a good night out, played. The audience hopefully will have had a good night out, and it's kind of keeping music live, because that's where the best music is, I believe. Live music is great. It's so much better than someone pressing go on a computer and then having 3 musicians playing along to a backing track, in my opinion, which I know that happens a lot on touring stuff. But Yeah, this sounds really dead. Yeah, it's just good fun to have a plink around. What else has been happening? I've got a new chill out album coming out. There's a project that I've got alongside my colleague Richard Adlam. A while back, Richard and I made an album of chill out. Like, when I say chill out, it's kind of, taken sort of, it's in the sort of Air 07 with a little bit of sort of some Balearic chill out music in it. So that is coming out soon. I've got a release coming up with that. I'll tell you when that's out. But we managed to get it signed to a label over in Holland called Suntree Records. So that project is called Dune People. So I'm going to bung an Instagram thing up soon, and we're going to be releasing a track, I think, in the next month. So that's happening. I have... What else is happening? Oh, yeah. So I'm in talks with a colleague of mine, Piers, at a studio called Headline Music. Headline Music. I think it's Headline Studios or Headline Music. My wife's just leaving the vets because I could just seen a payment come up on my phone. So I've decided I'm going to do a little, I do these boom and twang workshops, and I do some workshops over in Spain, etc. I've got a boom and twang. Paul and I have got a boom and twang workshop in October in Tuscany, so drop me a line if you're interested in that. Any guitar players or bass players are interested in that. But I've decided I'm going to do one on my own, which is geared around teaching people how to record and how to layer parts and come up with guitar parts in the studio. So loosely what I'm thinking about is, having some students come and hang out with me for 2 days, 1 or 2 days, at a studio here in Cambridge called Headline Studios. It's where I film a lot of the PRS demos that I do. It's a great studio. It's got a really amazing live room. It's got a lovely Neve desk, loads and loads of gear. But what it's going to be geared mostly towards is showing people how to record at home. I know it's going to be in a studio, but it's just great. Being in a studio, it just means that there's space. There's space for people to sit and watch. But yeah, I'm opening it up to probably around 6 people, and it'll be 2 days. I'm thinking a Saturday and a Sunday. You maybe arrive on a Friday evening, and then we can get cracking early Saturday morning, and we do a day just in the studio. What I'll do is I'll have a couple of tracks ready, and we'll look at tracking guitar parts, look at miking up amps, look at using modeling, look at using plugins, look at guitar tone selection, different types of guitar. I'll do a bit on acoustic tracking, with the hope that everyone can get involved and do some recording themselves. It won't just be me recording, but I'm looking at doing that. So if anyone's interested in that, drop me a line at robsfunkandjunk@gmail.com, or reach out to me on Instagram or something like that. I'm just looking at it and looking at what I would need to make it work. How many people we could get. I'm sort of thinking around sort of 5 or 6 people. I could manage that, and it'll be a lot of fun. And on the Saturday evening we all go out for a meal and have a hang, and then carry on the Sunday. And I just think it's quite interesting. I do get asked a lot of questions about recording and coming up with parts, and I know a lot of people out there are sort of recording things at home, and it might just be an interesting sort of spin on guitar playing, recording guitar. So if anyone's interested, drop me a line. I have had a few questions to come through, but I need to who's that? Someone's messaged me, but I'm just on my phone, so I'll do that in the next episode. I've got a few days off now, so I'm hoping I'm going to get in there and do a bit more work, a bit more writing, and yeah, all is good. I hope you're well out there. I've prattled on for 30 minutes now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next episode. Yeah, drop me a line. Any questions, drop me a line. robsfunkandjunk@gmail.com. My subscribers are going up. I'm doing, anyone that's joining me on YouTube, thanks. Nice to meet you all. Hopefully I can keep this interesting enough to have you keep coming back and visiting. But, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so I can, so you get an announcement every time it's like, subscribe, and ring the bell, isn't it? I don't know. But yeah, so you know when new videos are up. I've got a few things to do. I want to do a pedalboard video, show you what's on my board. And I've got a nice little video, like a video that I want to do on picking parts. So I'm gonna hopefully get to do that. I've just been so busy, been so distracted, and this garden takes a lot of work. I'm always busy. There's always something for me to do. But yeah, hope you're all well out there. Stay safe. Enjoy the sunshine. Don't forget to put your suntan lotion on. Bye all. Take care.